Figured out for a little bit. Tell Nate to go ahead and set us something up.
All right, it is 9:30. We will go ahead and get started working through the agenda to get ready for our 10 o'clock meeting. First on the agenda is approval of monthly bills. Approved November 2023 monthly bills. There were no changes. Any questions? All right, approval of minutes. There were no changes to those. Any questions? All right, public hearings. Resolution 23-367, approved request for off-premise beer and wine license for Responsible Partners LLC at 609 Bank Street, Decatur, Alabama 35601. I don't see Lori, but Kyle, there were no changes. Any questions? Weed abatements, I don't think there were any changes. Any questions?
No changes.
Yeah. I forgot you were over there. Resolutions, Resolution 23-371, accept AHC grant for Austinville Historic Survey.
No changes unless you all have questions.
Okay, any questions? Resolution 23-372, approve Lord Ayek Sargent to do a master plan for Delano Park and a historic structure report for Fort Decatur.
No changes.
All right, any questions? Resolution 23-373, award bid number 24002 to Alabama Scale Systems for landfill truck scales, being the lowest responsible bidder. Okay, any questions? Resolution 23-374, approve the purchase of artificial court surfacing for 12 courts with post-extension concrete slab for covered pickleball facility. Jason?
No change.
Any questions? Resolution 23-375, approve the purchase of artificial court surfacing for 4 courts.
No change.
Posts for tennis. Any questions? Ordinance 23-4572, approve L. Brian Cagle and Jeff L. Donovan annexation request for approximately 6.65 acres of property lying on the south side of Acre Lane, southeast, and east of Meadowbrook Drive, southeast.
No comment. No comment.
Any questions? All right. Boards and committees, reappoint Chiquina Crittenden to the Parks and Recreation Board, term expiring December 31st, 2028. There were no changes. That would be a first full term. Any questions? And then reappoint Shane Stewart to the Parks and Recreation Board, term expiring December 31st, 2028. Same thing, first full term. Any questions? All right, we'll get started at 10. Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters. Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Minutes are approved 5-0. Next we have public hearings. Resolution 23-367, approved request for off-premise beer and wine license for Responsible Partners LLC at 609 Bank Street, Decatur, Alabama 35601.
Morning, Council. Kyle Demeester, Finance. This is a request for off-premise beer and wine license. They've already been approved for a restaurant retail liquor license, and they've met all requirements.
So moved.
All right, this is a public hearing. We'll open the public hearing now. If there's anyone here to speak, can speak now. All right, seeing no one here to speak on this item, consider the public hearing closed. We did have a motion by Mr. McMaster, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-367 is approved 5-0. Weed abatements, resolution 23-368, assessed $293.50 against 3014 4th Avenue Northwest for cost of abatement of nuisance. There's no changes.
So these are just standard weed abatements.
Motion by Mr. Pepper,
Second.
second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion?
Position is always the same, it doesn't change, these are all nice places.
All right, any other discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-368 is approved 4-1. Resolution 23-369, assessed $293.50 against 410 7th Avenue.
moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper,
Second.
second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-369 is approved 4-1. Resolution 23-370, assessed $293.50 against 1715 Binka Street. Motion by Mr. Pepper,
Second.
second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-370 is approved 4-1. Resolutions, Resolution 23-371, accept AHC grant for Austinville Historic Survey.
Yeah, Alan Stover, Community Development Manager. This is a grant that we applied for the Alabama Historic Commission to do a historic survey of the Austinville area. So we're just asking that y'all approve accepting this grant.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper,
Second.
second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-371 is approved 5-0. Resolution 23-372, approved Lord A.X. Sargent to do a master plan for Delano Park and a historic structure report for Fort Decatur.
Yes, this is a grant that we applied for, again, with the Alabama Historic Commission, and this will just allow us to do a master plan at Delano and a historic structures report of Fort Decatur.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-372 is approved 5-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alan. Resolution 23-373, award bid number 24002 to Alabama Scale Systems for landfill truck scales, being the lowest responsible bidder.
Good morning, Jeremy Sherrill, Procurement. This bid was open on November 29. This is a request to add an additional truck scale at the landfill to improve traffic flow for customers in and out. 3 bids received, and we're recommending Alabama Scale Systems as the lowest responsible bidder.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pike,
Second.
second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-373 is approved 5-0. Resolution 23-374, approve the purchase of artificial court surfacing for 12 courts with post-tension concrete slab for the covered pickleball facility.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. Jason White, Parks and Recreation. The first one is for the concrete for the 12 courts for the clear span building that's going out.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper,
Second.
second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion?
Most of these were like $500,000 each. Is that
Yes.
correct on these? And this is just for the servicing?
It's just the surface, right?
And this is where we're replacing TCO and covered.
Those areas. Yes, sir.
The first one, this particular one is for the other side.
Okay, I'm sorry.
One of the things, and it's something I think is important to kind of remember in this conversation with this particular kind of surface is, as y'all know, we've come to you many times with crack issues in tennis courts. The hope is that this type does not crack like those others have, and if so, we need to move forward with these in the future to where we don't have that, because that's the main cost that we've had, the main issues we've had with tennis courts in the past.
He had a motion and a second.
Yes.
I did not support the removal of either of the structures. So it's gonna be difficult for me to, and I do not have a problem with the tennis courts, the additional tennis courts, or the additional pickleball courts. I do have issue with where they're going and what we had to give up to get these in these particular places. So to me, it's sort of a difficult situation, but I won't support these because I didn't support how we're doing them. So I won't support these today.
So in the work session, did you say it had like a reinforcement cord in it?
Yes, sir. They call the way these work is they actually put goes around it, and it's supposed to keep it where you can keep it tight. You can keep it where I guess that's what keeps it from cracking. So, but there's other places that have hit, not anywhere right around us, but there's Nashville, other places like that. This is not something I'd heard about until we had got to looking and tried to find something that would fix the problems that we've been having.
Good. Last thing, the anchors, I guess that will end up holding the clear span structure.
Yes, sir.
Will they be set inside that concrete and poured, or?
They're actually going to be set under the concrete. They're a helix anchor. And so there's two different ways you can do those clear spans. You can do one where you do a wall, you do a foundation wall. That's a very expensive way to do it. And it's not structurally any stronger than just putting down the helix things to hold it, and then you come back and you concrete those areas. If we were doing asphalt, which we at one point, what you actually do is you don't do the parts where the helix things are in, the anchors, and you come back and concrete that. So doing a concrete floor kind of at least solves that part of it, is you just concrete the whole thing.
Gotcha. Thank you.
It's gonna look good.
All right, any other discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike. Pepper.
Resolution 23-374 is approved 4-1. Resolution 23-375, approve the purchase of artificial court surfacing for 4 courts with post-tension concrete slab for covered tennis facility.
Yes, sir. Same conversation. The only difference is this is at the location over where Councilman Jackson talking about where TCL.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McMaster, second by Mr. Pepper. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike. Pepper.
Resolution 23-375 is approved 4-1. Ordinance 23-4572, approve L. Brian Cagle and Jeff L. Donovan annexation request of approximately 6.65 acres of property lying on the south side of Acro Lane southeast and east of Meadowbrook Drive southeast. Tommy?
How y'all doing? I'm Tommy Whiff with the planning department, and the applicant is requesting to annex 6.65 acres. It went before the planning commission November 21st and passed 6-0. The land use will be residential.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper,
Second.
second by Mr. Masters. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike. Pepper.
Ordinance 23-4572 is approved 5-0. Next we have boards and committees. Reappoint Shakina Crittenden to the Parks and Recreation Board, term expiring December 31st, 2028. Motion by Mr. McMasters, second by Mr. Pepper. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike. Pepper.
Shekinah Crittenden is reappointed with a vote of 5-0. Reappoint Shane Stewart to the Parks and Recreation Board, term expiring December 31st, 2028.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper,
Second.
second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Shane Stewart's reappointed with a vote of 5-0. Our next council work session will be held on January 2nd, 2024 at 5 p.m. And the next regular council meeting will be held on January 2nd, 2024 at 6 p.m. We will go ahead and move into public comment. As we said last week, no profanity, no personal insults, and we're trying to keep this to 3 minutes. I'll give you a warning just to try to kind of wrap it up and try to keep it orderly and moving along. First on the list is Rob Walker.
Might want to turn it up, John. Can everybody hear?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Council and Mayor.
Good morning.
Everything that I'm going to try to say in 6 minutes, and what I don't get to say in 6 minutes, I've got a representative, it's going to be, and Herman will know exactly what these words mean, it's going to be hung under the words arbitrary and capricious, which is the general health and welfare of any city. It's going to be hung under capricious and arbitrary. Two very critical, it seems common sense, but they've gone over the Supreme Court as early as the 1930s. And they've been litigated over and over and over again. But they still stand as a barometer of zoning and what you can and can't do under zoning. And even though it'll be another meeting, I question strongly what was done in Burning Tree. And I've not read the ordinance. But the caveat I'm going to make about that is that zoning was arbitrary and capricious. It wasn't based upon a plan. And it singled out, which is one of the things you can't do under zoning, it singled out one area and gave special attention, gave special rules to that one zone. You can't do conditional zoning, Herman knows it. You can't do use variances. There's a couple of things that are under that, but I think I've given it as much time as I need. Our zoning ordinance is permissive, it's real old. We even tried to change it as early as 1984. But it's still there. As I said, as far as the city's authority, it's measured and it's gone to the Supreme Court, first our Circuit Court, Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court of this country. I may have left out a court, Herman, in between our Circuit Court and Supreme Court. And I want to mention one other reason. I said public health and safety, arbitrary and capricious. This came up in a civil court case. Herman knows exactly when it was, probably by the date. It's called equal protection. So a city, and I'm not a lawyer, but this is just one of the things that is very critical to municipal government. I'm not 3 minutes, am I?
Almost 4, but if you can just wrap up your last point.
I'm asking that an advisory committee be established in the Northwest Neighborhood District 1. I'm asking the advisory committee be established in every neighborhood. I'm asking that the district council representative be ex officio on that committee, that the mayor be ex officio on that committee, that an additional councilman that wants to come can come, but you can't do more than 3. I know y'all know exactly what that means because you have a minority.
Yeah. Can't do more than 2.
No.
All right, Rob, that was 3 minutes. Do you have, you mentioned 6. Is there someone else here?
Yes.
Okay, who is that?
Mr. Tom Hill,
Yes, sir.
River Bend.
Gotcha.
Okay. Here's one of the core problems, and then I'm going to get back to specifics in these newspapers. There's an apathy epidemic, and it's not just in the country, it's in Decatur. Everyone more and more and more is using the internet to find out what's going on, our Facebook. And freedom of the press, because the press is being left out, the written press, there's a real difference between what's going on and what people know. And somewhere in the middle of that, our country is losing. Now, this is my opinion, but it's in Decatur because I know in Decatur the public's losing. Y'all didn't do that. So the media is going down real quick as far as its use. TV is going down really fast. And what's increasing is internet. And on the internet, you know this, my daughters know it, I get on to them. You tend to only read the headlines and not all of them in all sections. You just get a front page glimpse, but no fine print. It's not y'all's problem, but it is a problem that affects us and affects public information, whether you have public hearings or not. There is a newspaper article, quickly, headline, "Walls Come Tumbling Down," and this was December 6th. In that article, Herman Marks, city attorney, talked about not having any information yet because I'm not an attorney and didn't make it through. But I promise you the next time it will make it. And there will be, and it's just because I'm not one. Okay? And I've apologized, Herman, to the judge and every attorney in town because you know I value not only your experience and expertise, but I value every attorney's, and certainly don't want to insult the judge to think anybody can file a temporary restraining order. I just was hurrying because I thought it would make a difference in T.C. Almond. Okay. December the 14th, 3M creates a public green space. In this article, let me get quickly to this point. In this article, the mayor says, Bowling said it is encouraging to hear 3M wants to receive community input. I don't know whether in the back rooms he suggested to y'all, I'd be ashamed if you did, and you didn't have public input on TC Almond. Bowling said, I think that what they've offered is nice. But I think that it's a good thing they're asking to hear from our residents. But nothing was done. In fact, this attorney knows our state law and regulations because specified in this article is what their attorney is doing, starting with a public hearing. So,
Rob, if you can wrap up.
yeah. So, in my opinion, Herm, he knows our public and local laws and wants to implement them better than we do. And I don't think that's your fault. So I'm not pointing any fingers at you. I worked with you for 26 years. I know with A.J. Coleman, I know the challenges you had to get any public body to say, wait a minute, don't do that. Every council I worked for 6 years, and the 6 other councils I've observed, did everything they could do to not go across the street. Everything. Because it costs money and time. All right, we were sued twice and we couldn't help it. When Supreme Court, we won both of them, but we didn't want to go. Every council and mayor wanted to not have to go across the street. And 2 streets over, y'all can figure out where that is a place you certainly don't want to go.
Sure. Thanks, Rob. We got to move on to the next person that's signed in. Thank you. Elena Daly is
Rob, I'm
next.
gonna say this real quick, and I'm not gonna ask these questions, but I'm gonna simply say that I know that you were our city planner for 26 years. You did remarkable work because, of course, you know that I came to council member meetings long before I was on the council. And I think that you hit on some really significant points here. And some of the significant points that you've hit on are the fact that, you know, we have sort of our way of planning has transitioned. You're well aware that after you were our city planner, actual city planner, that Michelle Jordan succeeded you. And when Michelle left in 2009, we've not actually had a city planner or a complete planning department since that time. And in my opinion, our city has suffered for that. And I think that sometimes we do things a different way and we get a little bit off base, and then we do it a little bit different from that. And after a while, the new way becomes the norm. Now, whether that's consistent with planning rules and guidelines,
No.
you know, it's probably not.
It's very dangerous
And it
because
is.
you can cross legal boundaries with that.
It is, but I do think that it's vitally important for us to have a city planner, certified registered city planner in our organization where we have an actual planning department that doesn't just say that this meets guidelines, but they actually set the plan for our city. And I don't think we've had that for quite some time.
We're not referring to it, man.
So the thing is that I think that you hit on some very valid points, and I think it's something that we as a council and as a government need to take into consideration, and we need to start looking at how we kind of got off track. So I appreciate what you brought to the council, and I know that, again, you've got extensive education. You've taught the course, so it's not for any of us to argue with you as to where we are in our planning. So I appreciate what you bring to the council.
Thanks, Rob. Elena, you're next.
As I fold up here, thank you, Mayor and Council, for letting me come and do my duty as free speech. I beg you to do your duty, and you'll have to go to the neighborhoods to let them have their turn at free speech.
Thank you.
As you're enjoying your turkey dressing or whatever, Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, I can't help, because I know most of you, almost most of you, personally, I can't help but think when you're taking that break that we all take with our most loved ones, that you'll pause and think about the people that have lost somebody and all the people in these areas. Some of them don't even know where Point Mallard is.
Rob, thank you.
I don't know a way to be able to make this better because I'm real short. How'd you sleep this week, Mayor?
So pretty good.
Dan, did you sleep pretty okay? Pretty good? Yeah, I didn't. Not really. Let's discuss a few hard truths, shall we? A man died in this city. A man died in this city. And y'all sit up here week after week showing no emotion, no compassion. You're arresting protesters. You're turning your sprinklers on protesters that are out here asking you for one simple thing: fire the police chief. He made a false statement in the beginning of this. He tainted Steve Perkins' name. Video recording came out and showed that he lied. Then we get toyed around with an internal investigation that didn't start for 2 weeks later. And then on top of all of this, 3 terminations, 1 suspension. That's what we fought 10 weeks for. Really? Do you think this is going to stop anytime soon? Do you think that if you arrest all of night shift that we're going to stop showing up? There's some of us out there on bond now. Do you think that's going to stop us? We're hurt. We're humiliated by you and by this police chief and by the way that your officers react to us. And that's another thing I'd like to talk about. But let me bring up something else real quick that I have to do for the other people that want me up here. You made the decision that they were wrong enough that they need to be terminated, correct? They violated policies enough to where they should have been terminated. So why was Mac Marquette not arrested for firing into an occupied home if he was enough to be terminated for being there in the first place? Also, when do you plan on actually being transparent and releasing the policies that were broken? Because I've been up here a few times saying policies and procedures, but I would like to fact check my own self too one day. According to the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, we as citizens have the freedom of religion, speech, petition, press, and assembly. As a young person, I'm starting to think that Alabama itself, not just the city of Decatur, is trying to infringe on that since we no longer have a petition for a recall election. However, according to Alabama state law, shutting down a legal protest through a dispersal order, which is what your officers are using, I'm not sure if any of you are aware of this, but this is what's happening in your city, so you should be. Using a dispersal order is a last resort and should not be used unless there is a clear and present danger of riot or threat to the public. And last I checked, the only threat is to the protesters of getting sick with our feet soaking wet on the sidewalks. So tell me how at 9 p.m. on a Saturday night we are in clear danger to your community. After a dispersal order is given, it is the law that the officers must give how much time we have to disperse, consequences of failing to disperse, and a clear, unobstructed path to exit. So my question to you and to your police chief is, why would Lieutenant Lindley, a man who is a higher rank than Sergeant Pace, come out and give us a paper on Friday night at 10 p.m., speak with us, and not disperse us until 11 p.m. with one other officer? But on Saturday night, when a neighbor called, Sergeant Pace showed up with 7 or 8 of the good old boys at 9 p.m. to pressure, harass, and disperse us with force.
We just hit 3 if you can wrap up.
I'm wrapping up now.
Yeah, my 3.
That's good. Walter.
Okay.
Yeah, she can have them. This is real deal stuff going on. Y'all need to listen.
So my question to your police chief and to you: why do these officers act differently depending on which ones are out there? Because last I checked, the laws are the same regardless. It's black and white, right? Wrong. So why does one lieutenant get to do this in a nice, peaceful way and actually try to repair communications, because y'all are not? This, I don't know what this is, but this is not repairing our communications within this community. So why does one lieutenant, who is actually, we've had our issues with him in downtown in the past. We showed a video to you of him recently. He come out there giving us papers, this dispersal noise ordinance, and actually tried to have a conversation with us. Yeah, we gave him lip. Yeah, that's what we're here to do. We're protesting. We are upset. But guess what? We disperse every single night, don't we? Every single night when the cops show up, we disperse. Why? Because they give us a legal order to, right? Yeah, if we had 50 people out there, the First Amendment and the Constitution would trump your noise ordinance, and you know that. But we don't. It's just a few of us, moms and dads mostly, that are getting targets put on our backs. Lastly, Mayor, I really do highly recommend that you don't water your grass on cold nights in December and flood the public sidewalks, causing mud and all other types of damage to your community. Come spring, all your grass will be dead. And I know those officers tried to help you with a sprinkler wrench, but I don't think they can do much once your grass dies, because they're not so bad at killing things themselves.
Justin Shepherd's next.
I want to play us a soundbite from the protesters' visit at our house.
Justin.
I'm taking a seat if he's talking. I got bad
That's
back.
fine, I just didn't know if you wanted to sit here. But
He had all kinds of people talk.
This is audio from the protesters at our home and our neighbors from Friday night.
Was that submitted to you?
Merry Christmas!
So that's actually disturbing the peace. And that's not.
hold on, guys, he's responding, he listened, he's responding.
That's not a peaceful protest. And so we have instructions as to how we're supposed to respond to when it becomes disturbing the peace, and that's what we're doing. Okay? Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. All right, Justin, sorry about that. Hold on, we can't take, Justin, come on.
Well, it's all right for him to
Right.
No, he's responding to,
how we should feel bad for protesters in front of his house, but not bad for me having my house shot up. But heaven forbid he get inconvenienced for a little bit.
Right.
I'll pray for you. I may have taken some time off. I'll kind of stand at an angle since nobody could see me. Or should I stand this way where the camera can see me?
The angle is, let us listen to you.
you're addressing the council, so.
Oh, okay. Well, I've taken some time off for myself. And the big things that I've gotten from that time is that none of this is going to just go away. Some of y'all want to know how I am. The short answer is physically doing worse and mentally not good. What efforts are being made to change the scope of the police in the community to community policing? Can anybody answer that? Shift from law enforcement necessarily to community policing?
I would say I think that's something we will work on, yes.
Okay. Well, I was asking what actions are being taken for that.
Working toward reviews and things like that, to look at those policies and way of policing.
Yeah, do you really think that's gonna do any better versus community interaction?
There will be community interaction.
That's a part of it.
Yeah.
It's almost Christmas. The Perkins family isn't going to have Steve, the father, the husband. This is the first Christmas that I just can't find the strength and mental strength in me to put up my Christmas tree. It's almost Christmas and I still don't have power to half of my house. I have bullet holes in my home. I can't even try to get in the spirit because half of my outlets don't work. I can't even put lights up. This may be small to some of y'all, but when you are dealing with the situation that I am, it makes it thoroughly difficult. Compassion is, according to Webster's, it refers to caring response to someone else's distress. I've seen more compassion out of individuals that their kids have done something to another person's property, like throwing a rock through a window, than this city has shown me for damaging my property. And through recklessness, almost taking my life. This city government hasn't shown me the compassion I would expect as a victim of a reckless act of this city, and has robbed me of my Christmas for this Christmas, and I couldn't imagine how many more years to come. But I didn't call the police on somebody shooting rounds through my home, but banging pants in front of their house.
Justin, Claudette Owens.
Good morning. Honestly, my first question is a question of curiosity, no disrespect. I have to know. I missed the last meeting because I was out of town, but I see this room has been rearranged and an officer sitting up front. May I ask the reason for that? That's the first question.
just safety for this dais, city council, city employees. You're addressing the city council.
Okay, we'll talk later. All right,
Let
second
me-
question.
Let me say this, I want to jump in. I don't know who did this, and I can't, I've never felt unsafe here. So I just, I don't know where this came about, and I don't know what the other council members know as well, so, I mean, that's where we are.
I personally feel, and I'm not saying I'm right, I just personally feel it's because a lot of us who represent Steve Perkins and the justice for him, I feel unsafe looking at the officer. No disrespect for you as an individual. It's just all the things that have gone on. I was threatened just looking at the video last time, just looking at, you know, from the,
Come on,
yeah. He's just trying to make a point for me. Okay. So anyway, I'll move on to my real question. That was my curiosity. Now I really want information. Several of us, including Mr. Gordon and I, several others have asked repeatedly for the process and once if the officers were terminated. We've gotten to that point now. We asked, and I thank you, Mayor, and you and Mr. Marks explained after that, if they have filed appeals, and that will become public hearings. They have filed appeals. And now I am hearing conflicting information that those hearings may not be public. My question is that true, and why?
I think I saw a letter that came out late Friday from Dr. Gilmore, who is the chairman of the Personnel Board, that stated that the meetings would be public.
Okay.
But there's a lot said in the letter, but in short, will be public, and the date is yet to be determined, but expect the meeting appeals to be heard in January.
Thank you. Thank you for clearing it up, because there's a different thing that's coming out in some of the interviews on the news. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Caught up. I said thanks.
Okay.
Yeah. One thing, and Claudette, I hope this isn't, I just wanted to, I know there was a question about, I had a question outside from somebody else asking about the ordinance that Claudette and Yvette, and if I won't speak on that, and you can chime in if you want. I met with you and Dr. Rice for probably an hour and a half, maybe, this week, working through that. So we are making some progress towards some solution that can be helpful, I think, in this situation. But we're still working through that. In fact, we're talking about it, I think, Saturday night as well. So I just wanted to update that. Do what?
May I say one thing about it?
Yes. You can stand and say it if you want.
We are working through it, and it's not as simple as I immediately thought, because there's a lot of conflicting things. But the one thing I do want to say to the community is we are working it for the community. And one thing that we found out is that passing the orders may affect the community on another side. And I don't want to, you don't want to pass a law that's going to further put your community in adverse situations, whether it's being able to get a car or whatever. So it's going to take time, because we want to do it, but we want to do it right. So that's the point.
Thank you. Just wanted to give that update. All right, next I have Terrence Baker. I don't see Terrence.
You should be.
If he got pulled over on his way, I'll get him if he comes in.
Yeah, he got pulled over on his way.
Reggie McKenzie.
Good morning.
Morning.
First of all, I'd like to give my thanks to the chief. My family and I did get to view portions of the video. Of course, no sound, which is something that we'll get to later. But do have some concerns. And I guess I got a couple of questions that I'll start. I'm going to ask the council. There's of course, this officers can pursue. I guess they call it fresh pursuits. But I'd like to ask, what is the purpose of pursuing somebody? So with you, Mr. Councilman Masters.
I would imagine it would be to detain them and question them.
Yeah. What about you, Mr. Pepper?
That's pretty, just to catch them, to catch the suspect.
Stop.
I guess I'm a different opinion. I don't see the reason for chases. I do think that, and maybe some agree with me, but I do think that once we have the identification and a tag or something like that, then we should not chase.
Well, yeah.
That came out actually in the last with the last police chief, and that was, and again, I didn't agree with that initially. But after the Chief Allen showed me where I was looking at things differently and wrong, I find that there is no real point in that.
And I think, can I add to that?
Sure.
I think Chief Allen would also say, unless there's a clear, like, if somebody had just killed somebody, there's a clear danger. Right, so.
I'd echo that. If there was
Okay.
a crime.
Yeah, all right. My grandson got stopped, well, chased for apparently not having his headlights on, which is a misdemeanor. So, now here's my problem. He went into, I guess it's called Ascend, into a dead end. So they let him drive out of that dead end. So they actually chased him twice. They had him at the dead end. So if the root goal is to catch that person, they had him. They let him drive out of a dead end and start chasing him again. So something is wrong with policy. I think the officers may know, yeah, I got the authorization to chase. What did it do? What are the other implications that come into play? So what I'd like to ask this council today, I'm asking for a vote today placing a moratorium on pursuits when it involves a misdemeanor. This moratorium will stay in place until a review of those policies have been conducted. The new policies and procedures should be clearly outlined when an officer should engage in a chase and under what circumstances. Also, discipline measures when police officers violate that policy. And Mr. Pepper, I'd like for you to put that on the table for the council to vote on. If you agree that we have a problem based on what I just said, if it is to catch or to apprehend, and they had my grandson at a dead end, so something is wrong with the officers or the policy, or something is not right. So I'm here today not to talk about we can't bring my grandson back, but we have to start dealing with policy. And policy, that particular policy on a misdemeanor, they actually chased my grandson twice and literally chased him to his death. You already was going 130, 140, 150 miles an hour.
Mr. McKenzie, so.
Yes, sir.
You called upon me, so I'll answer to the best of my ability. So, to my understanding, I've made it, everybody, I'm pretty sure is very aware my brother is a cop. So, to my understanding, how pursuits start is usually with a misdemeanor traffic infraction, right? Usually they're having to pull you over for something. Well, when that individual takes off running, in most cases it's a misdemeanor. I think it becomes a felony now if you go 25 over. Either way, that is a state law now. So if you exceed.
When did that law come into place?
I think 3 months ago it came into effect.
Probably after my grandson.
I maybe so. I'm not 100% familiar on the time.
It did.
The time limit. However, I know it's a felony after 25 over on a pursuit now. With that being said, though, most pursuits start in a misdemeanor traffic infraction. The only question or concern that I have is if somebody's running from the police, right? Mm-hmm. In most cases, they can get a tag number. I'm assuming our cars can get close enough.
They got all that new.
So got the tag number.
They had that probably 5 minutes into the chase.
So let's just say that there's that car stolen. That car is stolen.
But it wasn't.
Well, it wasn't. Well,
it was not stolen.
It may not have been.
Wasn't reported.
But the thing you're asking us to do is put a moratorium on pursuits for misdemeanors.
Right.
When misdemeanors usually are what start these pursuits.
Mm-hmm.
And the individuals running could have warrants for higher crimes in other states, such as murder, rape. I mean, there's all sorts.
But it didn't come up. You run the tag. That's how you get the information.
But what if
you get that later? You got the tag. If you got the person, the tag, and all of that.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. But so say for instance, I let my brother borrow my car and he just murdered someone in Georgia. It's going to pop up as a clear tag with insurance and non-expired.
Okay.
So yeah, I couldn't support doing something like that when there are other scenarios that play out in situations.
So you couldn't support that until those policies are reviewed because something is wrong. These officers don't even know what the hell they're doing.
I think that the pursuit policy, the way it is, to my understanding, to what I've read so far, is fair and just.
They can pursue. But anyway, like I said, I wanted you to do it, but anybody can do it. But I'm asking the city council to vote today, placing a moratorium on those pursuits until those policies can be looked at and worked out and talked about with the chief and others to make sure. Because what I'm saying is,
I'm going to ask a follow-up question. Herman, can that even legally be done?
I would advise not doing that because you're taking over law enforcement discretion. That is something that they need to describe. You basically say to the general public, we're not going to chase you. I don't care what you do. So I appreciate what he's sharing. That'll just be
that's
part
not what I'm asking.
This is part of the policies that y'all are asking to be reviewed.
Either way, I can tell you from my standpoint, I would not support putting a moratorium on pursuits.
And it's just for a period. Let's do it through the Christmas holidays and look back at the policy. I'm not saying forever. I'm saying a moratorium to look at it. Because what I saw on that video, they chased my grandson twice, man. I mean, they chased him to his death. And if any kind of officer, you got him trapped at a dead end, and you're going to let him out and chase him again at 150 miles an hour? I don't care if it's a misdemeanor, a felony, or whatever. I'm asking for, put 2 weeks on it. Put the first of the year, so you can look at the policy. Something is wrong, Councilman Pepper, with the policy. It's one sentence. You can chase. What the hell do you do after that?
Hey, Rick,
these officers don't know it. I'm sorry.
I was going to respond. There actually is some, and I
I'm
can't.
sorry, man. You can't get your grandson back. Speak your piece.
I don't know the name of the agency you may, but there is some new guidance out for police chases. I've talked to some folks around, and it does include things like chasing juveniles. I don't know if it mentions misdemeanors. I do think that's something we should and can review. One interesting thing, I think, just in general, with what's going on in Mobile, and everyone should read up on that. There's an article on AL.com last week, but about council's ability to regulate police policy is very interesting, and it was surprising to me. And they have asked for an opinion from the Attorney General, Marshall, on what a council can actually do in regulating day-to-day policy from the police. So anyway, just something to point out, but there is new guidance from one of these state police, I think it's state, and I'll try to find that and send it.
So I guess on moratoriums there, I mean, is there a,
Here's what
I've seen other places do that.
Let me say this, Mr. McKenzie. I am not in disagreement with you. I'm not. I would like to see what the law allows us to do before we move forward, because I don't want to do anything that is going to be immediately overturned. But look, I watched that video with you, and I was astonished at, I think the high speed that I saw on there was 136 miles per hour.
That was awesome, so he had to be going.
I mean, so the fact is that in my mind, it became not only dangerous for your grandson, not only dangerous for the officers who were involved, but it became dangerous for other citizens, or not citizens of Decatur necessarily, but other people who might be driving on the streets at that particular time. And that was my take on it. Right. And I did not see how we could justify going into a chase like that at all. But so I am completely, after watching that video, and like I said, I've had conversations, and Chief Allen and I, the previous chief, have debated this. Because at one point we had, and I'll go back just a second, and we had motorcycles who were riding down Moulton Street and all of our thoroughfares doing wheelies, and I was bothered by the fact that our police officers wouldn't chase them. And that was just me instantly, and my initial thoughts. We had a conversation, and he said, we're not gonna chase that. We'll catch them, but we're not gonna chase them. And we can identify them, but we're not gonna chase them. And I couldn't wrap my brain around that. And as we had more conversations about it, I realized that he was right, I was wrong. And so I don't disagree with you at all. But I would like to look into this and see what the state law provides us and what allowances we have as far as state law goes. And I'll make the motion. If I can make sure that we can do this, I'll make the motion, and we'll move forward with
that. Terrence Baker.
Hey, good morning, Council.
Yes, good morning.
I'm Terrence Baker. Basically, I just came up here. I've been wanting to speak for a couple months now, but I just came up here basically to speak with you guys. Also, speak to speak to y'all as a city, you know, because I can't address the city, but this is almost our platform now. So just a speech I wrote like 2 weeks ago. We need to use this time to be thankful as a city, thankful for this situation, because we've had a chance to come together more than before. It's a great awakening here. You know what I mean? We have been up here expressing our feelings, you know, our love for Steve, expressing our care for the city in front of the city councils for what, 2 months now. And all we've gotten was like disrespectful gestures, turned away heads, answers that basically that we don't like. So as a people, as congregations, as a community, as families, it's time for us to come together and teach our kids who will be the next generation. It's time to teach our kids who will be fighting this next generation. These problems ain't gonna never go away. This world was built on racism, built on blood, built on I know more than you, so I'm gonna be bigger than you, built on bullying. And we've exposed that in our city. For our city's mayor not to address that in the way that the city would like, I think that's where our problem lies. We've put our heart behind you. And if you're wondering why people are at your house protesting, it's because we need answers. We need a full understanding of what's going on. Also, we need changes. We need Chief gone. I know y'all might like the Chief. He's probably done a lot of good things that y'all see, but it's no way that the Chief is gonna be able to withstand this situation and still run our city. He has to go, whether it's by the 15th, not just, we don't need no 3, 4, 5 months, 6 months. It's time to petition him to go because he can't lead our city. I went to jail the other day. Yeah, let's talk about this. Forget that speech. Forget that, all of that. We were out protesting at your home. Weren't being belligerent, which y'all said Steve was before. That's what the paper put out, that, hey, he was being belligerent. He was doing, you know, not putting down the gun when y'all asked him to. So the same thing, which was a lie. So now the same thing that we're doing, they're calling disorderly conducts on us. I know you guys. Do you think you can have a conversation with me, a normal conversation? Billy, Kyle,
Got a bunch of
Hunter, like Tab? You've had many conversations with me. Why was I arrested for saying, so you're gonna take us to jail? I wasn't saying, hey, we ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna stay and we're not going, I wasn't doing all of that. A simple, so you're gonna take us to jail, and jail, pointing me out like we was playing Duck, Duck, Goose. The disrespect that I received that day is the disrespect that black men have received all of our lives. As a black man, to put me in handcuffs, put me in the back of a car, put me in between 4 walls for simply asking a question, my kids at home that I have to take care of, don't know if I'm gonna come home or not. Like, that's the stuff that we're fighting here, Tab. Like, that's basically everything we're fighting. And for y'all to pull us away, like, protesting is our weapon now. All right?
Terrence, just wrap up last.
All right, that's our weapon. We're going to protest. If y'all don't like the way we protest, let's get a city review board and teach us how to protest. Let's do it properly. But we will be neighbors. There will always be neighbors in your neighborhood until we get Chief out of here, until we get a review board, until all of these things that we're asking for as a city, until it's done. We're not going anywhere. All right? So that's all I got to say.
Thanks, Terrence.
almost at a loss for words because it's almost, I'm just gonna ask you first. What went through your mind as you were like getting off your couch, getting out of your chair, whatever you were doing, and going, I'm gonna turn on the water. What does that solve?
Sir, you played the sound of the noisemakers while.
All I heard were bells and Merry Christmas. That's what you just played.
No, I played, there were loud noises disturbing the peace. It's not just bells and.
Question.
I'm answering your question.
Question. Another question.
Yeah, so would I be justified in taking that vote?
Hey, guys, let Mr. Gaylor talk.
Does an ordinance override Constitution?
Nope.
Is an ordinance a law?
Nope.
I don't know the answer to those.
No.
The Constitution rules.
Mr. Myers, you can answer.
If you don't, and that's if you don't know an answer for a simple question like that, do you really need to be married? I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything.
Okay.
I'm just.
I'm gonna get you an answer.
Okay.
So I'm gonna refer to our legal counsel.
The answer to your question is an ordinance is a local law.
It's a local law.
Yes, sir.
What's a local law does not override constitutional law.
That is correct.
State law does not override constitutional law.
That's right.
Federal law does not override constitutional law.
That's right.
That's what I ride with, the Constitution. So anything that a human has constructed to try to get around the Constitution, I don't pay attention to.
Period.
Constitutional law. Have the right to free speech, have the right to protect myself, have the right to say whatever I want to say. Yes, there are consequences behind anything that you do and say. That is very true. But at the end of the day, constitutional law overrides everything. You can make up as many ordinances you want. You don't hold the water. That's just somebody in their feelings. Who owns Earth?
We do. We gods.
You see what I'm saying here? Like you don't get where I'm going with this?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't because of the noisemakers.
The noisemakers.
Yes, sir.
Guess what? If you don't like it, you can move out of the neighborhood.
Well, I don't think those are protected under the Constitution.
Where does it say that in the Constitution?
Well.
Exactly. So that's my thing. That's the problem. The Constitution is what it is. Just because you don't like certain things doesn't mean, oh, there's a loophole I can try to wiggle through to get somebody locked up. Because nobody's done anything to the city of Decatur. The city of Decatur has done a lot to us.
That's right.
Just saying. It's ridiculous.
Yes, sir, it is.
Thank you. If you got.
What do you find ridiculous?
I've made it clear, the noisemakers.
The noisemakers. Why do you think people are making noise? Because you went to somebody's neighborhood and made noise yourself.
That's sure I did.
Your people did.
If you can wrap up your last point, please.
So, if you don't like the actions of some people, you should try to control the actions of others. Because if not, you're going to keep getting the same results.
Thank you, Mr. Gaylor.
It's like you already said, we're not going anywhere.
Thank you, sir. Council, anything else? All right, we will stand adjourned. Thanks.